Kereisos Daf Yutes. Rebbe holds Yedias Sofek Mechalik, meaning if a person ate a piece of meat and was told afterwards that it's possible that the piece of meat is chaylev, he's chayev a korban ashum tali. Because the yediyah, the awareness that he had, even though it was a suffix, is mechalik. And therefore, if he eats another piece of meat, and he was told afterwards, after the second piece of meat, that it's a suffix, maybe it might be chaylev, he's chayev two ashum talis. From that, we have a machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish, as we discussed yesterday. Rabbi Yochanan says that if he was let to be known afterwards that both pieces of meat are chaylev, he should bring one chatas for both. Rish Lakish holds no. Since the middle yediyah, the yediyah that he had, the awareness that he had after the first piece of meat, was enough to be mechayev him an asham tali, that's enough to be mechayev him. We could turn that into a yediyah, to an awareness to be mechayev him a chatas all the way at the end. So he'd be chayev two chatos. The issue with that is that it should say, just like by an asham tali, all you need is a suffix yediyah to be chayev two. So too by a chatas, if you know at the end that's pure chaylev, you chayev two, because I learned that out from an asham tali. But that's not what it says. It says, just like chatas, so too asham. It should be the opposite. Just like asham, so too chatas. The Gemara brings the case of two paths that have a body buried there. The halacha is, by tumas migdash v'kadashav, unlike other shaygei in the Torah, if a person eats a piece of chaylev and he became aware of it afterwards, that's considered a shaygei, and you bring a chatas. But by Beis Hamikdash it's different. A person needs to know that he was tamei before he went into the Beis Hamikdash, then he forgot about it. That's called yediyah b'tchila. He had a yediyah beforehand. If he doesn't have that yediyah, he doesn't have that awareness, he's potter according to most mandam. So what happens if a person walked on path A? There's a 50% chance that the body's buried there. And then he walked on path B, another 50. Together, 100%, he stepped over the body, and he's tamei. And then he walked into the Beis Hamikdash. So he's chayev according to these mandam. Now what happens, because in that case, for sure he was tamei and he had a yediyah that he was tamei. What happens if he walked on path A, and then he went to the mikveh and he became tar? And then he walked on path B, and then he went to the Beis Hamikdash. When he walked into the Beis Hamikdash, he's not certain that he's tamei. Possibly he was tamei from the first path and he's already tar from that. So now he doesn't have a real yediyah. He doesn't have a yediyah vadois, he has a suffix yediyah. What's the halacha? So that Rabbi Yochanan says in this case, they made the suffix yediyah ki yediyah. Even though it's a suffix, it's a full yediyah. Because it says, v'nelam v'hu tamei. As long as he has some awareness, even though it was not complete, he's chayiv. According to Rish Lakish, this goes according to Rabbi Shmuel, that holds that you don't need a yediyah in the beginning. He's b'chuluk on everybody, das yochin. And therefore, according to Rabbi Shmuel, since he doesn't need to have a yediyah, so he is chayiv. Rabbi Shimon says in this case he's potter. Why? Because you don't have a yediyah vadois. And Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda goes as far as to say that even in the case where he went on path 1, he walked on path 1 and then path 2, and then he went to the Beis Hamikdash, there is a situation where he's potter when he forgot completely about his walk on path A. Because when you walk into the Beis Hamikdash, you need to know in your head that you are tamei. It's not enough that you were physically tamei, you need to know about it. Says the Mishnah, if a person has in front of him two isurim, suri deiraisa, a piece of chaylev and a piece of noisar, and he eats one of them thinking that what he's eating is completely kosher, and then he finds out that one of them was noisar and one of them was chaylev. In fact, 100% that he was over nisr, Rabbi Yeshua says in this case he's potter. Why? Because the Torah says, that you need to know that what you're eating, exactly what you're eating. Another case would be, same case, if a person came home and in his house was his wife, who happened to be a nida, but he thought that she was tar, and his sister was there, and he's with his sister instead of his wife. In that case, since he was 100% over, Rabbi Shua says he's still potter, but you have to know exactly what the isser is. Now, Rabbi Yehuda adds, Rabbi Lezer says he's chayiv min manavshach, because either way he was over isser deraisa. Rabbi Yehuda says that according to Rabbi Shua, he's not even chayiv asham tali. Asham tali is only in a case where he had a choice between a kosher piece and a non-kosher piece. But when both pieces are treif, or noisar and chaylev, then asham tali won't even help this person. Rabbi Yossi talks about the third case in the Mishnah, and that is if a person was over, he thought it's a weekday. It happens to be it was Shabbos, but now he's not sure if it was Shabbos or Yom Kippur. Says Rabbi Yossi that it has to be that he did it during the day, because if he did it between bein hashmashos, then in that case he's potter, even according to Rebbe Eliezer. Why? Because it's possible that part of the malacha was done on Shabbos and part on Yom Kippur. And even if it was a very short malacha, like Hitzah, still it's possible that it split it up. And Rebbe Eliezer is not mechayev on Gemar malacha in the case of Echad ala Arig, the case that we had the other day, that if you just put if a person is weaving and he just weaves one thread, he's not chayev. He would need 2 threads. According to the Tanakama, the machlokes is also bein hashmashos. Now, the Gemara talks about the case of misasik. Misasik is a person who's occupied. In other words, unlike shogig, where he intends to do a certain act and he just thinks that act is mutter, or he's in a day of heter, over here he doesn't intend to do this specific act. He intended to take an apple off the tree and he ended up taking an orange off the tree. That would be a case of misasik. Now, the Gemara goes into detail. What is it exactly? According to Rebbe Eliezer, the Torah says ba, and the Torah means that you have to have kavanah for an aveira. So any aveira, according to Rebbe Eliezer, you'd be chayiv. You're only potter when you intend to do something that's mutter. According to Abai, that would be lifting something up, which is mutter, but you happen to detach something from the ground while you did it. According to Rav, he goes as far as to say he intended to cut on Shabbos, but cut something that was detached, and he ended up cutting something that was attached. Even in that case, that's misasik. According to Rabbi Yeshua, he goes as far as saying they have to be mechaven to that specific chet. So if you decided to take an apple off the tree from the right tree, and you ended up taking an apple off the left tree, you're potter completely. Because it says in Torah, meleches machsheves, it has to be a calculated act, and that's not calculated. And finally, for today, there's a case where a person had 2 babies in front of him, and one was chayiv b'mila on Shabbos, and the other one, his mila was supposed to be the following day. As you see, even today, something like this could happen. The moil gave mila to the wrong baby. So the Gemara, according to Yeshua, is potter because he made a mistake in a mitzvah. Meaning that if it wasn't a mitzvah, he wouldn't have the patur of misasik. Because here we have the concept called mekalkel b'chabura chayav. Since he made a kilkel, he ruined something, he damaged it, and b'chabura, he made a wound. There's no heter of misasik, and the only heter here is because he was doing a mitzvah. Have a wonderful day.